over doubled their points from their first weekend in one day. So if they get a little bit of consistency and pick up some more kills, they could see themselves picking themselves from the bottom of the leaderboard. So it's definitely in Unicorn's favor at the
Yeah.
moment.
And just quickly as well, as we get into match number one, the two other teams down there, Ferox, Hydra Gaming, they had some slow games, unfortunately, yesterday. Although now, fortunately, we get into our first match of the day, so hopefully they can turn their fortunes around tonight and have a better night of it, especially for Ferox's sake. When we look back over to weekend number one, night one, only 4 points, but then night two was 29 points. In this case, it pretty much happened again where they got like 3 or 4 points yesterday. Can they have another big night? If they can get 20 plus points, it does get them back into around the middle of the pack. And I think for Ferox, top 10 is probably the ultimate goal, and that's still achievable. So they definitely can't hang their heads. And the same for the likes of Hydra Gaming and Purple Mood. I probably put top 10 as the goals for those two teams respectively. And that rounds out the bottom four as we get into match number one of the night. It's day 4 for PCS3 Apac. Match 13 of 24. We are now officially past the halfway mark, and Canaxi almost finds the opening frag onto 2 ends here with the UAZ. Might be able to get him this time, but we saw this a little bit yesterday. Kind of discussed. It's worth a shot. May as well have a try, but it's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, and it's definitely not wasting your time. Worth wasting your time on the one potential kill there, and Canaxi definitely realizes that as he goes back to loot. But that could have been a very bad start yet again for Unicorn Cyber here. So luckily enough to keep all 4 members alive for now, and we'll just be on their merry way at the moment.
So we saw the circle pop. Phase 1, very, very north. We had a couple of crazy circles last night. I think at least 2 of the games were very much out of the ordinary, but we look at a phase 1 circle like this as well, and it's not as scary because you know where it's going. Like it's going to be in between Severny and the Rosehawk River. It's going to be around that shooting range area, or potentially around the western part of Stalba. We look at Buriram United Esports, though, our second-ranked team at the moment, and definitely, I think at this point, I think the biggest competitor to LG Divine, maybe just slightly edging out Fury. They've been great on both maps. They've got 2 wins. They've done everything but just make up the 20 points.
Yeah, that's right. It's not going to take long for them to make up the 20 points, especially with the games that they were having yesterday. They had some really, really good games, but they did fall a little bit short in the last game of the night, where I believe they came just into the placement points, but from their position, they didn't really get anything out of it as they were wiped out early. But Buriram is one of those teams that I'd expect to bounce back extremely hard, especially tonight, coming in with a little bit of a fire lit under them and ready to take it to LG Divine.
It has been the standout, I think, from an individual standpoint for Buriram United, and well, that's probably good news. You look at a player like Nordra, who's previously a season MVP, and Axie God Meow, no slouches either. You got Jowman sitting as your super sub as well. It's a roster that is quite stacked as we pan over Fury, who are currently tied for kills with LG Divine. PTSD flashback for the Fury fans who, of course, witnessed their team tying on the kills and the placement points for PCS2 Apac. Unfortunately, though, they didn't have the bigger game out of the two, therefore losing on the 3rd tiebreaker. Incredible. Fortunately for Fury, it's not going to matter too much at this stage of the game, and unfortunately, though, they are still 23 points behind LG Divine. All of that through placement points.
Yeah, and if I'm Fury, we've done it once, we'll do it again. That's the sort of mentality you've got to come out with in these games. You can't be willing to let anyone back in, even if it's the likes of LG Divine or Buriram. So you're definitely not sleeping on these teams and not going to give them any sort of opportunity to bring themselves back into it.
Now, the damage proportion, it's a bit more even compared to the kill proportion at times. Sharper Esport, though, way out in front, technically over Buriram Fury and LG Divine, almost around the 2,000 plus mark. So that's actually quite substantial considering they're 30 points behind LG Divine. It probably just says to me that, like a couple of teams in the top 4, they are just lacking really those placement points in punishing LG Divine. That's really being the difference right now. Obviously, when a team has won 5 times, there's a reason why they are in first place, but winning isn't always forever, Edge, and it's been now 4 or 5 games since we've seen a chicken dinner from LG Divine, and I guess no surprise, that's maybe why the lead has started to dwindle.
Is it about time for LG Divine to get another one of those wins? They've, like, if you can see the map right now, LG Divine has the entirety of the center, as we see right now. So they're putting themselves in position to be able to pick up one of those wins, but knowing PUBG, it's always a little bit random, and it's just how you play against it. So LG still has a lot of work ahead of them.
And these sort of circles as well probably favor teams that get these center positions more so than playing edge. Even a team like Buram, who does like to play edge of circle, and they are going to come in late, they are going to get to play their style. They're going to be coming into probably an area that's going to be very open field of view. It's going to be, I don't know, 3-4 teams could potentially see you at any given time, depending on where you're at. So if you're not getting a good compound around this sort of Severny region, you are going to probably struggle. And as you mentioned, LG Divine, great spot. Fury, great spot as well. We do need to see more, though. Phase 2, Phase 3 can change the landscape dramatically. I mean, heck, it could just hard shift down south towards Roshawk, and that basically changes everything as Gen Voss will find that crate. And as for Angel Alliance, a great story here. They've been fantastic on Miramar. Love the way they go about it there. But boy, do they need to find that form and bring it over to Erangel.
I definitely think so. They just haven't been able to pick up their Erangel games yet. They've had some good, I wouldn't say great, but some good Miramar games. They've brought themselves into the top 3s reasonably consistently, but you just need that little bit more. You need to have that nice mix of the two maps, and you could either take that as a big learning experience or just try and hedge your bets on Miramar every time.
Well, you can't, I don't think, at this level. You've got to be able to play both maps. Maybe in the local regions you could get away with it. Although in the local regions you're probably just dominating the lobby anyway, so it's not an issue there. But, you know, even likes of LG Divine, who obviously had huge Miramar control over the first weekend, still you got to get it done on both maps. They showed us that. They obviously have gotten a win on Erangel as well. And that's, again, why they are in top spot. You take away that Erangel win, and they probably wouldn't be in top spot at the moment. There's Tom K for Magic Esport. As I've said, it's pretty simple. If he dies, Magic Esport die. There's a lot riding on this guy, and I wouldn't be surprised in 2021 if he's... I almost don't want to say it because it sounds rude, but if he's on a different roster, potentially a team that can compete in the top 3, top 2, for instance, he's such a talented player.
I do think for the likes of Magic Esports, from where they were in PCS2 to where they are now in PCS3, they've improved such a large amount. So, you know, if they're willing to stick it out and they're willing to keep building chemistry, and whether they're individually still getting better and better, I think they'll be a definite more scary roster to come. But, you know, a roster change could be just what Tonke needs potentially.
Well, Imimar has come in and I think done a good job as well. Look at, maybe instead of Tonke leaving, maybe it's about addition, getting just one more sort of top player into that squad, and who knows, that could be a jump for them as we switch over to Unicorns Cyber, who have knocked out Nordra. Well, this kill feed right now is lovely days for the LG Divine fans, because their two biggest competitors have just lost a player each. Waiki Kamukau died for Fury. We didn't quite get to see that one as we were watching Nordra die. God Meow does get out, turn around, gets the knock onto Best 1301. We see the circle too. Shifts right over to the eastern side of the map, right towards Yasnaya Pond, Stalber and Yasnaya. So Severny out, shooting range is out. And it does change the landscape of this game dramatically. A team like Buram would actually probably be a lot better rotating and sweeping the edges of Stalber, but they've got to get there first, and now they've lost Nordra. So the shift helped them, but they've obviously ran into a roadblock along the way.
Yeah, it hasn't been the best of circles for them, but for the likes of LG Divine, they have slid themselves into a nice compound at the moment, so very good for them. Planning to continue. Ronan does get taken down by
Magic.
Mama. Yeah, Magic has a very big spread around the top of Stalber here, so they've got a lot of control, and it looks like they're going to take the fight to Fury now.
Yeah, and this is why I mentioned Imamar as well as a player that has stood out for Magic Esport alongside Tonke. Not a surprise to see him get that elimination onto Ronan. Only Insight and Flood remain. Not the start to the night that Fury would have liked, considering they are still 23 points behind LG Divine. They have to just send it away out of here. As Flood looks to regroup with Insight, they can stay alive. They are dead center of the circle. Placement points could still very much be on offer. And great play from Magic Esport, though. They push down from top of Stalber. They take this warehouse north of Yazdaya. They've got 4 players alive. They found a kill. Good start.
Yeah, Magic doing a lot of work for themselves at the moment. They've got themselves an extremely high-tier compound. We saw Fury have a really strong game from there yesterday, so given a bit of circle luck, Magic should be able to control majority of the mid portion of the Stalber Hill. A lot of the Yasnaya Polyana kills late game will start pushing up, so if they can do their best to farm those, they might see themselves with quite a few points on their hands.
Oh, God Meow has been knocked, and he is extremely far away from Edie and Canaxi. He is basically dead. Unicorn, Cyber are going to have 2 kills on Buriram United. Talk about last place having an impact, and that's the beauty of PUBG. Whether you're 16th or you're 2nd, you're still going to be able to have an impact on the lobby. Klee will get the elimination of the God Meow. Basil's been eliminated as well for Cerberus, and some of our top teams heavily wounded here for match 1 of the night.
It does not look good for a few of these teams here. This might just be a little bit of a write-off game for most of the teams. Sharper Esports now getting involved, hindering Buriram's rotations, but it looks like they might be able to get away with their lives for now unless Kim Siva can connect some of these shots. They do have to pull up at the hut, but the hut is not a good long-term situation. Sharper will probably look to completely surround Buriram here and just lock them inside this hut.
It's a little bit annoying as well for them that of course, vehicles flip when they explode. Otherwise, that actually might have been a decent bit of extra barricade just on the side of the shack, some cover. Not to be, and I don't think this match is to be for Buriram or even Fury for that matter. And I hate to say it here, Edge, but this is where LG Divine play their best PUBG. They capitalize. They are a team that will say, all right, you're having a bad game. Well, we're going to punish you. We're going to go get 10 or 12 points. We're going to sit in the center of the circle. We're going to probably win the game with maybe 6, 7, or 8 kills, for instance, and extend that lead from 20 up to 38 points in the blink of an eye. And that is just a huge morale. You lose a lot of morale when that happens. You have a bad game and then your opponent has a great game. It's horrible.
Yeah, but being PUBG, there's not really too much you can do about that. But it's all about how you fight the RNG, how you fight the given situations you have. You see the likes of Fury who do have themselves a central position, even though they've lost 2 players. We've got Purple Mood as well, looking for positions from the future, still making their way into the circle, and it's not looking too good for them as majority of the higher tier compounds have already been taken. So from the future has a little bit of work ahead of them. Angel Alliance as well, doing just the same, but they have Arjun Bots, who is currently situated in a nice spot.
From the future, as you mentioned them, they are not inside of the circle here. This warehouse is not in. You can use it as a pit stop. They got 1 minute and 50 seconds, and they are definitely aware of Angel Alliance's presence, not too far as you just saw. Just actually now seeing them here, as you see, it's not too close, but not too far either. Fortunately for Angel Alliance, they are inside of the circle. They don't have to move for now. They've got a lot of time here. They can see what Phase 4 brings.
And Phase 4 probably won't be bringing too much for Buriram here as Sharper is slowly closing in on them at the hut. Tino is coming in very, very close. We'll pick up one onto Canaxi, and it's all left up to Edie and his hut. Edie can do a lot of work, but I don't see him getting anything out of this when the mollies and the utility are coming out. Doesn't really stand a chance, and Magsinus will take him out there. So Buriram, our first team to be eliminated here. Not the opening game that Buriram would have been hoping for at all.
Certainly not. Great position, though, for Sharper Esport around this spot of the circle. They don't have to worry about teams really coming in from behind them. They've got the Yasnite Pond sort of protecting their eastern side, too. So they really just have to worry about what's in front of them. They pick up 2 easy kills. They also take out a direct competitor in Buriram United, so finishing them off nice and early. LG Divine, I think, are obviously going to get the circle here for Phase 4 as well. But this could be the game for the likes of Sharper Esport, Division X, Bay, VTR to capitalize and look to overtake Buriram and Fury in 2nd and 3rd place at the moment. And just sort of draw your attention over towards the Stalba point. We got Ferox up there. Bay were actually in Stalba, and they've actually managed to get all 4 players away from Ferox. They were in the previous cycle, no longer though for Phase 4. LG Divine just barely in. Purple Mood have got the hot spot though, and Hydra Gaming up north can basically control the north in a pretty elevated position as well. So the question is now for LG Divine, what's the play? Do you just stay for Phase 4, move for Phase 5 when you have to, or move early? I think probably in this position, you're just going to have to play, hold it out, come in late, and push towards Phases 5 and 6 and try and find some kills. As 6 Sacks gets Sharper Esport once again in the kill feed. That's going to be their 3rd kill of the game, up to 94 points now. From the future, make the ditch in. They are wounded, down to just Triple X and Gypsy Danger. Unicorn also now driving by the compound of LG Divine. As we're down to 52 alive at the 16.5-minute mark. Match 1 of this evening. Insight for Fury. Just trying to probably ward off Unicorn, make sure they don't pull up near Fury. But Bay are lurking and loitering just above, behind them. And Flood has been knocked by Loki's. And unfortunately for Fury, their bad start is starting to catch up to them.
Yeah, and that could have been extremely bad if Insight was caught out at the same time that Flood was, but he was able to stay alive. I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to get this res, as Bay does re-breach the Wizard Hut now. Sophia and Loki's going to be looking to pick up Insight. They did step inside of the Molotov, so this might give Insight an advantage. He picks up one, but he won't even be able to pick up the flush there, as Loki's will trade out Sophia.
So, Fury out in 2nd last, Buriram out in last. Horrible start for the competitors to LG Divine, but great news for the teams that are from 4th to 9th, for instance. They can look to catch up points here. Angel Alliance, though, good start. 4 alive, 2 kills, great position. This could be the Erangel game for them, Edge.
This definitely could be the Erangel game for them. They've got a nice spot. They've got a lot of freedom at the moment, and they don't really have anyone that's sort of looking to push towards them. Another team that I think this is going to be very, very good for is Sharper Esports, who have lost the two teams above them that they're fighting against, and they've got themselves a nice edge spot where they can just slowly work in and start picking up kills and potentially putting themselves in a nice spot to finish out this game.
Victim Rise, they are keeping an eye behind them, but we have, of course, the fortune to know there's no one there. So they're going to have their backs quite safe going towards the back end of phase number 4. Ferox will have day trade coming in. You can see them just over the crest of the hill. Veronica, Balmoth starting to push up. Ferox have to be wary of this. They had an awful day 3, and day 4 be the day for them. They don't really seem too aware. They're not necessarily checking behind them too much, or at least not from Monty's point of view. I am looking at the map, seeing whether or not they are looking behind them. Doesn't seem to be too many players really looking behind. In fact, no one is looking behind at the moment. Look how close Balmoth and Veronica have been able to creep up. They have just been watching and waiting. A rookie error from Ferox is going to be punished. Not one player, Edge, was checking behind them.
It's really unfortunate for Ferox there. They would have been watching the blue for so long and then thought that their back was clear, and Day Trade just played with the blue, pushing up the side of the hill and picking realistically the perfect timing to strike there. So Ferox out in that 14th spot, not the game that they were looking for to start off here. Let's just hope that they can recoup and bring it back for the following games. As we see our 13th team actually go out, which is Unicorn Cyber. Not a good start for those boys either.
And Sharper Esport, though, also feeling the pain of what's been a chaotic match number 1 due to this circle. Exodus is knocked, but getting revived. eventually. Kim Siva obviously throwing out their smokes. We'll get there. I don't see anyone really who's going to be able to contest that unless LG Divine really push over and push the issue. We've still got 11 teams alive, though. Only 35 players up, but still 11 teams. So there's probably a few players that are solos or duos looking to just hang on and get into the top 8. They're going to miss out. Puchil's, Veronica, Bo's going to go down, unfortunately, for Day Trade. Well, with that circle shift for Phase 5, it left them in no man's land. And even if Ferox hadn't have been eliminated by Day Trade, they would have been in a similar predicament, to be honest, in the end. Very unkind circle for a lot of teams so far, but not for a few. Hydra Gaming up north, they're looking great. They're holding up north. They're not getting too center circle happy. They're happy to hold the top edge, make sure no teams are coming in behind them. Angel Alliance have still got 3 of their players up center of circle, and Purple Mood as well with 3 players at the only compound remaining here for phase number 5. Hi Saki, hello, headshot onto Sulaby, and that's going to be Magic Esport losing a player now down to 3.
Yeah, and for the likes of Magic, they've got a decent spot, but they've got to really work it in, and they've got Purple Mood holding them out, Cerberus on the edge, so I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make it in here. And Mama does get the knockout onto Hisaki, so that's big player gone for Cerberus now. They've got 2 remaining left in Subang and Sololzi, so they do have a little bit of space to work with, but not really much, and especially after this circle, it's going to be rough.
Sharper Esport, despite the good start here for match 1, they found 5 or so kills. They are going to be eliminated before the placement points. And LG Divine through Jun now onto 2 kills, just slowly increasing that lead. But while it's slow going at the moment for LG Divine, I'm kind of anticipating a big finish, potentially a chicken dinner. This is where they do their best work. 21.5 minutes gone. They got 4 up. Not a horrible position. They're in the circle. They can push forward, look to clean up Gypsy Danger and then Triple X. As we switch over to Magic Esport, Mimar is going to be eliminated by Chibarit. Alex looking for the refrag though, and is successful in doing so. With a bit of help from Neferhort, that's going to be the end of Victim Rise. And we are now down to 8 teams remaining, 21 alive. The only team with, well, there's 2 teams up with 4 players. Hydra Gaming up north, and LG Divine down south.
Yeah, and this is such a good game for all of our middle of the pack right now. They can start to close the distance on the top 5. There is only about a 20-point gap between majority of the teams, so all you need is that win, 10 kills, and you're definitely up there in the contest with the big boys. So
surely Levi's dies here. There's no way he survives this.
It's a little bit sketchy for Levi's right now. I really wish we could have watched that one out. But
you can see it there in the distance, actually. There we go. Look how close it is. Levi's doesn't know that Gypsy Danger is behind this rock, but Gypsy Danger knows that Levi's is really close. The problem in these sort of scenarios is Gypsy Danger, is he not sure? Is this a solo? Is it one? The other 3 around here, or the other 2 around here? Probably doesn't have enough information to just go off this. Probably only shoots Levi's if Levi's runs in front of him.
Yeah, there's really not much of a need for Gypsy Danger to do anything here. He just needs to wait for Levi's to overstep his boundaries, and once that happens, he can pick up the free knock and kill.
But the biggest problem here is as LG Divine push further in and they look towards Levi's, even for a split second, they will be able to spot Gypsy Danger. He does get spotted by Namc. I was saying it as it happened. He did get the knock, though, onto Levi's. Talk about timing. And now there's actually been a knock and a flush onto Jun by Neferhor. LG Divine down to 2 players, Namc and J-End.
Yeah, and Triple X is looking very hungrily for the flush onto Levi's. Namc and J-End probably won't be able to go for it at the moment, especially with Tonk holding from above. As soon as anyone makes a move, it's going to be quite difficult for them. Tonk is the last man surviving for Magic, and yeah, they're going for the revive. They've got the vehicle, so they can get over there. Tonk has averted his eyes for the moment. It looks like we're about to have this fight between Angel Alliance and Hydra Gaming breakout. Ooh, Tonk actually gets another one.
Oh, he got... No, that's JN. That's the one who was going for the revive. So they're both now down at the south. Namc's not really close enough and doesn't have a vehicle. As you mentioned, though, Angel Alliance and Hydra Gaming do a doing a bit of battle over towards the northwest here at the cliff face. One down at the moment for Hydra, but Angel Alliance have only got the 3. Make it 2 to end Robo with a knockdown on Team Patrick. Mad Dog, though, good positioning, utilizing that high ground. 5 kills so far for Angel Alliance. They can make it 6 or 7 right here if they can wipe out Hydra Gaming. And look at that circle shift, trying to help out LG Divine, and it might just work. NamC has gone over and he's looking for the double revive. He might be successful, and if he is Edge, I'd probably back LG Divine to win from here if he can get both members up. But look at Triple X run with the nade from the future. No, Tonkay, you're stopping the man from getting the job done. He has to fall back now, and Tonkay goes down to just moments, so Triple X has just averted back. He has no idea that Tonkay, who was shooting at him, has just died, and he's allowed LG Divine to get all 2 revives. All 3 members are standing once more for LG Divine. They're back, and they probably will punish everyone still alive.
Yeah, that is literal best case scenario there for LG Divine, just everything working out in their favor. So if they can convert this to a win, that's a big misstep by most of the teams involved. Purple Mood will have that high ground, but I'm not sure how much they'll be able to do off it. As we see Mad Dog push up around behind Mickey and get the 1 knock, get the 2 knocks. Second one onto Simon, but he's getting third-partied from afar by JN, one of the recently revived from LG Divine.
Here they come. Here they come. 2 quick kills. They're going to just rack up the points now, and Purple Mood, the only other team that have got sort of matching numbers. They've got 3 up. Levi's, though, might get pushed here by Rabbit and 2 and Robo. Hydra Gaming have been forced away due to Angel Alliance. What a climax here for match number 1. 2 and Robo, though, just sits down Levi's. It might be short-lived success for LG Divine, but it's still extra points that they probably shouldn't have been able to achieve. JM with a knockdown onto 2 and Robo, though. Now, if they can get the second one here, or at the very least with a bit of help from Los Santos, that does confirm JN's kill. 6 now for LG Divine. I believe they only had 3 when, of course, those 2 knocks were in play. So they've been able to capitalize in terms of getting into the top 3 and finding 3 extra kills. I think right now they've picked up about 6 extra points due to getting back into this one.
Yeah, it's definitely been a good outcome for them at the moment. Purple Mood as well, from a team who was probably, I think they were sitting in 15th position at the start of yesterday, has now put themselves up to 11th with a really big chance of getting into the top 10 after this game.
2 versus 3, Purple Mood looking for their first chicken dinner. A team that was second last for quite a while over the first weekend. A win here puts them oh so close to the top 10. Just moments. In a big moment for Purple Mood with a knock onto JN. A 1 versus 3 awaits NamC, who was at the center of this circle. He's spotted and found low by Los Santos. They've got his position. They've got him outnumbered. And I think they've got their first chicken dinner for PCS3 Apac. The nades ring in. NamC's not getting out of this one alive, and I don't think he's getting out of here with a win.
Definitely doesn't look likely at the moment with all the utility being thrown from Purple Mood. Just moments will light him up and pick that one up